tú es que me tienes caliente. Tú estás dura de espalda y más rica de frente. Mami, yo le llevo al oeste. Se parte este. Ey, baby, yo quiero darte la buena noche pa' que te apuestes. Y si se da, al fin nos vamos de aquí. Ojalá digas que sí, vamos a darle que andas bonita y suelta. Bonita y suelta. Se dejó del gato y tiene 5 de respuesta. Yo quiero saber con qué panticita te acuestas. Baby, dime si tú estás puesta. Ojalá y tengas suerte, porque no cualquiera puede llegarte. Pero yo voy a mí pa' que hoy tú me la sueltes. Tienes la disco de museo, más tú eres arte. Ya pagué pa' verte y va a gustarte todo lo que quiero hacerte. Hoy tengo que hablarte. Tienes la disco de museo, más tú eres arte. Ojalá y tengas suerte.
Pa' ganarte y por más que me ignoras, está imposible ignorarte. El sol al lado tuyo no es tan brillante. Yo soy Da Vinci, tú mi obra de arte. Tú eres arte, porque tu flow Dios lo bendiga. Llega y está la baby te ligan. Abdominal y sin hacerte la barriga. Tu ex todavía te hostiga porque tú estás cotiza. Toda la marca actualiza. Baby, si fuera cristiano, hoy te fuera a bautizar. Quítate toque, ya te la quiero ver. Que tú estás trending sin tenerte que joder. Vente conmigo, nos podemos beber. A ti te va a correr. Ojalá y tengas suerte, porque no cualquiera puede llegarte. Pero yo voy a mí pa' que hoy tú me la sueltes. Tienes la disco de museo, más tú eres arte. Y yo pagué pa' verte.
Y va a gustarte todo lo que quiero hacerte. Yo estoy puesta pa' ti, tú te me quitas. Diablo, que piquete la chamaquita. El corazón lo puso en la neverita. Dice que este verano se queda solita. Yo estoy puesta pa' ti y tú te me quitas. Diablo, que piquete la chamaquita. El corazón lo puso en la neverita. Dice que este verano se queda solita, pero nunca sola, sola. Amores vienen y van como las olas. El DM explota, autos le escriben hola. Una fila cabrón y yo quiero la cola. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Deja montarte el sunblock pa' que no te quemes. Aquí hay muchas nenas lindas, pero tú la tienes. Jugar conmigo se te entretiene. No seas mala, me tienes de meme. Me siento como el sol, ey, cuando te pones sunblock. Baby, déjame entrar, dale, quítame el lock, ey. Yo me la pasaría contigo, viendo TikTok, déjame sorprenderte, ey. Déjame untarte el sunblock pa' que no te quemes. Aquí hay muchas nenas lindas, pero tú la tienes. Jugar conmigo se te entretiene. No seas mala, me tienes de meme. Yo estoy puesta pa' ti, tú te me quitas. Diablo, que piquete la chamaquita. El corazón lo puso en la neverita. Dice que este verano buscarte una cerveza y de ver el cora, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Antes que te feliz apaga, yo te voy a olvidar. Yo te voy a olvidar. Antes que te feliz apaga, yo te voy a olvidar. Yo te voy a olvidar.
Me paso fumando bajo las palmeras, a ver si me cae un coco en la cabeza y me borra mi vida entera. Veo parejitas dándose besos y me da de entera. Voy a tirarle radio pa'l mar si sale sin bandera, porque no puedo escuchar canciones de romance. Me cansa que de pensar en ti no me cansa. El último pétalo me dijo que aún hay chance. No sé si es verdad, pero si va a volver avanza. Por favor, aunque sea un mensaje antes que salga el sol, que en la mañana coja alegría buscando tu olor. Tantos trofeos y aún me siento perdedor, perdedor. Búscame el encendedor, ey, que si no te olvido me voy a mudar pa' Chile, pa' Argentina o pa' El Salvador. Pero denme en el light el día, por favor, que antes que te feliz se apague yo te voy a olvidar, ey, yo te voy a olvidar. Antes que te feliz se apague yo te voy a olvidar, ey, yo te voy a olvidar, ya. Ey, 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 me estoy ahogando y a la ola le pedí socorro. Escribo tu nombre en la arena a ver si así lo borro, pero tus labios y tus ojos los tengo de gorro. No sales de mi cabeza, otro fili y otra cerveza. Ya tu recuerdo me pesa. Te disfrazaste de Rubí y eras Teresa, pero soy un pendejo y todavía me interesa. Ey, ey, saber de tu paradero y preguntarte si fue verdadero o si estás bola como avión y yo fui pasajero. ¿Qué cojones todavía yo te quiero? Los muchachos dicen que ya estoy charreando, pero en bajita seguimos quemando. Y antes que te feliz se apague yo te voy a olvidar, yo te voy a olvidar. Antes que te feliz se apague yo te voy a olvidar, yo te voy a olvidar, ya. Y antes que te feliz se apague yo te voy a olvidar, yo te voy a olvidar. Y antes que te feliz se apague yo te voy a olvidar, yo te voy a olvidar, ya. Ey, ey, el sol salió a janguear con las nubes y me regalaron un día cabrón, como cuando me quedaba en Boquerón o en Manatí. Lo mejor nunca se sube, al menos que en la radio salga esta canción. Hoy voy a darle paz a mi corazón, por eso me perdí. Me fui de vacaciones, con muchas cervezas y canciones. Un shot por las buenas amistades y por las bendiciones. Y si el día se pone feo, tú me lo haces bonito. Ya no pido más deseos, tengo todo lo que necesito. Que quiere saberlo todo. Si pongo el location ya no es un secret spot. Hoy voy a pasarla bien y no pensar en nada. y no pensar en nada, y no pensar en nada. Porque a veces pienso tanto que me olvido de dar gracias cuando me levanto. A veces pienso tanto que me olvido de pensar en mí, que me olvido hasta de dormir, hey. Así que no se asusten si desaparezco. Un rato bien lejos, yo me lo merezco. No me hablen de trabajo, no me hablen de escuela, que ya subí el ancla y abrí la vela. Puedo ver el paraíso llegando Isabela. Un mango de Mayagüe, después pa' la palguera. Puerto Rico se ve lindo hasta en Google Maps. Y hoy le quiero dar la vuelta con Sensei con Gaps. Lo que traigo es vibra linda, no quiero frontear. Pa' la baby yo después saco un disco de trap. No me busques que no me vas a encontrar, no me vas a encontrar, no, no. Me fui de vacaciones con muchas cervezas y canciones. Un shot por las buenas amistades y por las bendiciones. Y si el día se pone feo, tú me lo haces bonito. Ya no pido más deseos, tengo todo lo que necesito. Ay, ya no pido más deseos, tengo todo lo que necesito. Baby, vamos a hacerlo bajo las estrellas y que la luna nos grabe. Mañana dónde estarán no se sabe. Ojalá y el verano nunca se acabe, nunca se acabe. Baby, vamos a hacerlo bajo las estrellas y que la luna nos grabe. Mañana dónde estarán no se sabe. Ojalá y el verano nunca se acabe, nunca se acabe. Sexo, playa, lo que yo quiero contigo. Donde digas yo te sigo. A Dios le pedí un deseo, pero no me lo ha cumplido. Tu Instagram yo lo toqueo, yo siempre lo investigo. Pa' ver si sigues soltera o si volviste. Pa' ver si estás en PR o si te fuiste. Yo hago lo que sea pa' que no estés triste. Mi mente una bellaca siempre te despiste. Dime qué va a pasar, dime ya, tú eres una player. Te gusta jugar, pide lo que sea y se te va a dar. Sí, sí, se te va.
What's up? Okay, there we go. Mic is good to go. What up, y'all? How we doing today? All right, let's dive into it. What's happening, everyone? Welcome, welcome. Tradetopia is live. You already know this is where you're building your freedom one trade at a time. So let's act like it. Let's tap into that identity here. All right. So we got a lot to review after FOMC, after tariff news and all that good stuff. Like, we got actually quite a bit to talk about here. So let's dive into it. I know we have you guys coming in here. So let me get the chat popped up. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Mika, what's up? Edwin. Yo, let's give a huge congrats to Edwin for passing his funded account. Congratulations. Man, I can't speak, I guess. I'm still catching my breath. Welcome, Amy, Karen. What's up, Carlos? Patrick, Rodrigo as well, bro. Congratulations for passing your funded. Love to see you guys get it down. And also, especially, you guys are in the syndicate. You guys are putting in the work. So it's amazing to see the process really go through. Brandon, hello. Alfonso, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Yo estoy aquí en Chicago. Y literalmente estoy aquí en el centro. Entonces, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? Buenos días. What's up, Daniel? Buenos días, chicos. Corey, Mateo, Edgar. Shout out to Edgar. I know he just withdrew as well. Let's go, bro. Friso, Joe. What up, Linda? Lonzo. ¿Qué tal, Greg? Is it Greg? Gap up on NQ around 23, 6, and 5. Anyone interested in that? Yeah, we're about to dive into that for sure. Lil Janko. What's up? And OG. What's good, brother? What's up, Ray? Corey, Medellín, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué lo que? All right, welcome everyone. Charlie, Nigeria's in here. Isaiah. All right, let's get to the good stuff. So yesterday, the zone that I was looking for silver, we started to crash into this area. We talked about two zones, right? We actually had gone over this for a few weeks. We had kind of been waiting to see, okay, silver, gold, what's it going to be? How's it going to play out? And we end up, everything looks lined up for silver, to be honest, up until the market just tanked. FOMC kicks things off, and then I think it was the hour right after, it just it continued to bleed. So we started to gap down to here, to the zone where we had buys. And then what I started to notice was silver just was dropping more and more aggressively, and gold kind of slowed down its price action. So if you look at the market here, we started to see, the market come back down. Silver is getting into the zone, so is gold. But gold is kind of at a higher price action. So I'm waiting it out. And then silver spikes down some more. And so I end up taking a position here with gold. Luckily, I have accounts outside of futures prop firms. So I was able to get my way into this right here. So stoked on this entry. I plan on holding this one. I do believe we can get another buy. So I think we can get an entry back over here at some point. Would like to see it. If you guys are looking, price action on gold is very different. You have, if we compare the previous high here, where we're starting to see some bullish structure. Whereas when you look with silver, not really the same way. We got very bearish price action here. So, we're just trading in completely different environments. So, gold starting to flip into being the bull here. So, I do like gold buys. I think we can get something pretty valuable in here. So, my take is that we end up just kind of clearing some of this over here, breaking below. Ideally, it happens maybe NFP, whether it's later today or NFP tomorrow. That's what I would like to see. But I do like buy positions here with gold. I think it could be very valuable for us here. So we kind of see the market drop right into here, consolidate, and then drop again. So there is some significant movement starting from here again. Stalls out, another shift to the downside, and then we see the rally. And from here, the market's moved to, slow and steady, nice and easy. So I would say it was still a steep rise. So can we get back to these levels? I do believe that's going to be the case. And you can go back and use different types of price action to kind of gauge where you want to take a position. So we've seen key levels, key reversals at 3, 3, 3, 3, right around like that 33.30. So I think we can see a reversal again in this zone right there. This right here is where I would find some more buys. So right into this area. And honestly, the risk reward looks to me like it could be pretty solid. Whether you want your stop here or if you know, we got a pretty deep pullback here already. So I think we could afford to tighten up a little bit. And then this could give us some nice, very nice trading. So anyways, that's my take right now on gold. Since especially because silver is more bearish and gold is now starting to give more bullish structure, I definitely think it's in our favor to focus more on gold here. So this is the current gold contract as well for futures. CFDs, you don't really need to worry about that. So yeah. I'll give you guys this setup. I am leaning more towards a swing trade anyways. So I am under the impression that we can work our way up to these zones, maybe even further. But for now, this is a just about a 14R type of setup in my book. But depending on your account, you probably can't trade or hold for that long. And honestly, it might not be under your current trading identity to hold for that long. It might not even work out based on your trading personality. And so you don't need to do that, right? This doesn't need to be some sort of vanity metric like, oh, I can catch a huge trade. Not really important. Just catch what you need to. Catch what your system tells you to. So, but yeah, this is just my take. So you guys have my overall projections on a setup like that. And I'll start to mark them up. And actually, let me ask you guys, would you prefer that I drop a post for every independent setup, or would you guys want to see them all at one? Like, I just want a very organized way to share this in here. And that way you guys can kind of like, oh, let me see if there's any, setups I can take a look at. So all under one. I'm sure I feel like that's probably easier. And remember, guys, in the community, you can always just search something. So if you want to see like GC or gold, you can kind of just search in here. So like all gold, and then you'll see them here. They all pop up in here. So just in case you guys are ever wondering. So I'll just organize it for today, I guess, like, since it's more relevant. And then what's today, the 30th? 31st? 31st. July 31st. Last day of the month, last candle of the month. So things will be closing very intentionally today. Very, very, very intentionally today. All right, so here's gold. We'll kick it off right away. All right, and then, if you guys have traders inside of the community, just go ahead, tag them in here. And, make sure you're in the classroom. Like, I am going to be unlocking something new in the vault today. So there's a lot here that hasn't been shared. There is this journaling training, if you guys haven't seen it on here. But I will be unlocking some stuff in the vault today. And then as well, guys, we had a really, really powerful trading psychology Q&A that you guys should check out. Dropped it a couple days ago, but that's all good. And what else is coming is the futures risk cheat sheet. So it's a cheat sheet on how you can identify your contract size like super quick. So that will be dropping, I believe, tomorrow or Saturday. Okay, cool. So that's silver, or that's gold. Keep an eyes out on that. However, how about indices? Like, what the fuck was this? So I just want to I want us to have a moment of silence, guys. This is really serious. Yesterday we had one of our traders sadly missed his take profit by 2 ticks right up here, right over here. And his gains, his profits are no longer with us. So a moment of silence for for sets profits. Oh man, I like we were on the Zoom on FOMC, and it just was, man, soul crushing, absolutely soul crushing. RIP Seth, for sure. One tick away. So yeah, it's all just pour one out for the gains that no longer are here with us. Yeah, it was so funny. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but we've all been there. So yeah, and there was so we had some buys over here that we took it. I took some profits, and then we had a secondary entries too. So I did have another entry in here. This is a trade we took during or right after FOMC for the press conference. So this one triggered, hit a 3R. I know a lot of you actually, some of you passed your challenges with this trade as well, and then it just tanked. It just bled through, and which is cool. We were ready for this. I had this one marked up for you guys for quite some time. I think for about a week or two. So yeah, we had this one marked up from, it was last Friday. So last Friday we saw that sweep, and then the market just ran. So we came right back into this zone, played out of here, light 30-point stop, and then this thing absolutely just went fucking crazy. So it was really, really cool to see this one happen in real time. I don't know how many of you caught this one, but not only did you have the possible mitigation play, but then you ended up getting the shakeout too. So anyways, long story short, we have a different batch of trading here now, right? So one second. Where is... Yeah, that was wild. So let me see. Where's the new contract? When is the new contract here? Just want to keep this here in mind. I don't really see anything. I just want to make sure that I want to remember when the next contracts roll over here. When do you happen? Right. Okay, we're not till September. Cool. All right. We're Gucci. So, all right. Market's crashing at the moment. Not really too surprising here. This is, there's definitely a nice gap here going into the new trading day. So, question is, do we see a reversal out of here? It's not my trading style. Like, I don't just trade out of a gap being filled or an order block. That's just not how I trade. And then if you look at Dow is not trading like that. Like, not even anywhere close to trading like that. So I think from what it looks like right now, we're seeing completely different price action between Dow and NASDAQ. Right now, we actually saw Dow Jones spike down. So look at this 1 minute candle, this opening candle for this push to the downside, clearing out basically the low, Asian session low, end of New York session. So it clears that out. It drops a little bit, and then now is starting to push higher. Depending on how this unfolds, maybe we have, that's not what I want. Maybe we have buy scenarios, maybe not. Well, we'll just keep an eye on this. But yeah, obviously Dow didn't have the same type of bullish momentum that NASDAQ has. NASDAQ went absolutely ballistic, clearing these highs and trading way, 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 way beyond this. So, I mean, right now, even here where we saw NASDAQ during London session make these highs, and then we kind of just consolidated. It didn't hold these very long, so you can maybe consider this could have been a shakeout. But either way, like I'm not necessarily looking for shorts just because we've seen so much bullish price action on NASDAQ, unless we start to see a really big shift in momentum structure-wise, like price action in real time. So right now, I mean, yeah, we are seeing that. We're seeing way more bearishness out of NASDAQ. If it stays like this, where, you know, NQ is trading way more bearish and Dow is trading bullish, then yeah, maybe we can approach this with a sell at some point. But there's not really, at least not for me, I don't really have too many signs for smart money entries. Like, there isn't a, you know, big, you know, sweep above to clear liquidity. We kind of see it here. We see a spike. I mean, I guess we do. Yeah, we see that 7:30, that news event, take the high, come back down, but then it comes right back up. So it's not like we don't have just lingering buy orders that need to be mitigated over here. There's definitely imbalance, but yeah, nothing like too perfect here for entries. What we're starting to see now, which is I think what I know some of you were considering, it's okay. We have the gap filled, which is fine. The low that we see here, it gets right back to these lows too. So I would say this is more like liquidity. And then we have this end of New York session support. So I would imagine it's going to clear this too. And then that brings us to this huge sell-off that we see after FOMC press conference. So the Q&A happens, and then just like that, market bleeds out. So can we see a reversal in this range? That's really what we're waiting for. Here you see the market pause, bounce, and then it just bleeds out, bounces again. So here's more where where we're probably looking for opportunity in the future is right around here. So I think this is kind of the bigger zone, and this is a massive zone. So somewhere in here, taking a buy makes sense. This is a giant zone. We're talking about a 156 point zone. So we want to narrow this down for sure. So then looking to trade within here makes more sense. Here's where we get structure and order blocks. So I would say you can narrow your entry down at least to like over here. And even then, this is still a pretty big stop. So there's a couple ways you can go about this. Like, if we have our zone here, we can either wait for some sort of small time frame, just more detail. Maybe we see it, you know, come into the zone, build up some liquidity, and then on a liquidity sweep, you can take an entry. Yeah, I mean, it'll kind of come down to personal preference. Your stop as well. For example, so like we already did all this. Let me just clear this up. So even with your stop, you could tighten this up a little bit. So instead of having at the complete low, like the low from yesterday, inside of this structure, we see some good pullback. So like something like this, where your stop is just basically where you have just good price action. Now you're working with a 72 point stop instead of, you know, how much it was before. And having a stop like this isn't the worst thing in the world, just because it's just so volatile. So this is one where you could, the one way you could approach it is you can use, let's say, half of your risk and just have like a predetermined entry, where it's like a high probability entry. And then you can use the other half of your risk where like you wait for maybe just more market execution, just real-time price action analysis, where, for example, sometimes the market will, you know, come flying into these areas. You'll see it work its way down, and then all of a sudden you see it kind of slow down, accumulate, and then in a big spike you can take an entry, or you're even more patient and you wait for a break of structure, and then you take an entry like that. But this one is not guaranteed to happen. So it's like the more you wait, once it's in your zone, you can get more confirmation for just a higher precision entry. But it's not guaranteed that it gives you more and more and more detail. So this is more of the higher probability approach with NASDAQ for sure. And then taking a look at Dow Jones, spiked up and then is coming down again. I'm not going to take anything here. I'm not doing anything. No, aquí yo no compro nada. Me quedo fuera. We didn't really get like higher highs. This is just choppy. I'm not interested in trading this. Dow also has more imbalance down here. Maybe it wants to trade lower, but looking at Dow and then comparing it to NASDAQ. They're kind of moving relatively similar. So yeah, I would just stay patient with this. Really not much to do. And then with Dow, could we see maybe sells or something? Up here, it's pretty sideways consolidation. There's definitely liquidity over here. So there is motive for a price to come down, to come back up to sweep and then reverse at some point. But we'd already kind of had our mitigation here. So I'm not really feeling anything over here. And even just now with current price action, we see the market take out the high, come back up, chop up, and then drop again. So with the liquidity that it looks like it's building over here, yeah, not really an interest I have right now, which is selling anything. And that's fine, guys. Like today, like after such a huge, crazy day like yesterday, just let the market give you clear signs. So you don't want to follow, like if you had a big winning day yesterday, you don't want to chase those highs of doing it again, making, money again or getting wins under the belt again. You don't have to be so aggressive and attack the market like that. Just let the market come to you. Tomorrow will be another day that also has volatility. So if you find yourself kind of not getting what you want today or not being in the market, I wouldn't really worry about it too much. And then if I were to look for a buy today, it would be with NASDAQ. As of right now, NASDAQ is holding this much better and Dow is kind of still dropping more. So I'd stay pretty patient there. Okay, now let's look at the majors. Yeah, I got an interesting chart yesterday from, I think it was Patrick, and he's looking to long Australian, and I am too. So we kind of have two things. You have an order block right there. So we have a sell-off that happens here. This was about this is about, what was this, like 30 pips or something? Yeah, like 31, 32 pips. And then it gets right here, and we see a nice reversal about for like 50. Fantastic, all right? So that does its thing. Great. At the same time, we have this sell-off, which is about 54, 55 pips. So I'm thinking, is this the mitigation? Like, was this the reaction for that? And it's a little short. So what I think we get first, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think we mitigated this order block first. And now we're going to approach the bigger sell-off here. And I think this is where we can get an entry down here. Before I make this decision, though, I want to evaluate other majors. We're seeing the pound still just bleeding out with no. I've gotten no chance of getting into any of this, which has been really sad. But it is what it is, I guess. Now Canadian futures kind of chilling out. Maybe we get reversals there soon. The euro isn't dropping as aggressively. Yen futures definitely are. These are dying. We'll get into that later. And then we have New Zealand. So these are the equivalent to like NZD USD. So this is basically building liquidity here too. So between NZD and Australian, technically it's still slightly more bullish. So I do think we can get a nice play with Australian longing this. And I like where we've seen support before, and in the past we've seen a lot of reversals, a lot of just a pivoting zone. So I'm in for it. Hold on, let me clear my throat. So yeah, right around here. This is where I think we can get some pretty good setups. Right there. And my take on this, especially since we've been so bearish, intraday, I think we can target these like London to Asian session highs. So the most likely exit would be to just, it would be very small. 1.13 risk reward. And it would be playing within the range off the order block. Now, I'm not going to take my profit there. It's not really worth it to me. The next would be trading within this range here and trading in the imbalance. Because we've been trending and making lower lows and lower highs and lower lows and lower highs, I think we're due for one of these to break through and crack one of these highs. Does it need to stay above there? Not necessarily. But when you see the market respecting structure for quite some time, what happens? Sometimes it either breaks through just briefly to liquidate and then it continues, or it actually, it stays and then you get the shift in structure, etc. So either or, with a trade like this one, I'm down to see it break above. I think we're overdue for something like that, with just how much we've been dropping. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to stay bullish, but I do think we can crack the liquidity here and play into the imbalance. And whether it stays bullish or not, it doesn't really matter. So, but this could be a solid play. So this is 6A Australian, and then so here's the gold trade if you guys haven't seen it yet. And what you can do is, if you guys have trades you want me to look at, go ahead and share them in here. Drop them in this one. All right, let's take a look at Dow again. Okay, so Dow went into imbalance. Nice. And then now we're starting to see way more bullish price action out of Dow. Okay. So we sweep these lows. We drop into the imbalance that was formed during yesterday's recovery. Great. And now we're starting to see, and NASDAQ did something similar. Trades into this last sell-off before it ripped again. So you guys can see that. Have actually here a huge drop, and then it just goes up. This is a nice little 1 minute order block. So when the market drops like this, these lure in sellers. These are like, oh, okay, it's finally turning around and it's gonna go back, and then it just rips. So this is those last enticing candles. So the market comes back to that specifically. You can see that right there. Right there. Clockwork. Plays right out of there. Some people use these to take their entries. I'm not a huge fan of that. I like to use those as exits. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes they can play out really nice. Now we're starting to see the bounce. At the moment, we're seeing that there wasn't that much demand over here. So if we were to get, let's say, above this and then hold some structure, then with pullbacks we could look for longs. Same thing, maybe with Dow it could be one or the other. So this is what I want to know now. I want to witness this. Are we going to get more proof that price is bullish, that it's going to sustain these highs, or is this just, a pullback and then this is just going to keep going down? And either or are a possibility. So this is giving us signs that it could develop. And that's one thing that's something that you want to audit yourself. Like when it starts to give like the first signs of a certain, let's say, of an entry model that you like, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So sometimes we just want it to work. You see a couple of things that are showing you signs of your setup, and then you just assume that now it has to work. But unless you have every part, like every confirmation, then until then, do you have something? So as of now, we're definitely getting signs. So we'll catch up on this here in a couple minutes. I'm gonna put an alert over here. See if we get above this. I just want to see where we get to. All right, here. I totally had Bad Bunny still jamming. All right, I just didn't have that on. All right, cool. So yeah, let's let it do its thing. For example, look at how Dow tanked and then came right back up. If Dow chills up here for longer, then I could be down. So if we were to get something like this, then all right, I could take it. I'd be down for a buy. But I want us to trade up here for longer. If we just kind of immediately drop, then I'm not so interested. So with Australia to have an alert set if we get there. Now, let's go back to so there's a couple things that happened. Yesterday, FOMC tanked, came back up. So do we have anything worth trading from yesterday? Like, are there pending setups for especially with certain pairs that have been very bearish? Like, do we have any ideas, any entries? And it kind of looks like we might. Like, for example, GBP pumped up to here. We saw one push to higher, and then it drops. So like here. So here's a potential short with the pound. With the press conference, it spikes up, and then minutes after, it just tanks. We don't quite get to this area. We don't really mitigate here. We get close, but we're not quite there. So I do think we have a potential short with the pound. So that's one here that we have. And then we can take a look at this with other majors. So, for example, Euro definitely picks up a huge move to the upside. Huge move up, comes crashing down, comes right back up. Does this mitigate? I'm not sure. It looks a little bit short, but it looks pretty damn close. So, for example, here you see, this is CAD futures, my bad. But yeah, this does play out of the zone and then do its thing. So okay, if CAD did its thing. Euro, so euro really similar to the pound, clears the highs, and then we actually don't get anywhere near this. So take a look at this. YM. Okay, so look at this. Now we're seeing Dow. I'm going to go back to majors in a second. But Dow now just cleared these highs. This could be the beginning. This is a huge sell-off, liquidity capture, played into the imbalance. NASDAQ dropped into that order block. So here, now we kind of want to see how it works its way down. So what does price action look like? And then what does the pullback look like? We don't have any more expected volatility events up until tomorrow. Tomorrow we do have NFP and then ISM manufacturing. So remember, tomorrow we will be here live early, so don't miss out. Cool. So let's see what this continues to do. I'm going to place an alert in case it starts to drop back. Hopefully this doesn't hit that alert until later, because then if it doesn't, we have a chance at a setup. So we'll give it some time. Okay. Going back, we definitely have a euro sell idea and a pound sell idea. So here, let's add these to our list. So let's get our trades for our potential ideas here. So here is 6E. I'll actually add this just so it's easier to search in case you guys ever search for stuff. And then, so that's, and I'm going to put a side by side. So this is euro, and then we have pound. Pound is slightly more bearish at the moment. So at the end of the day, for those of you that have been trading with me and you know my system, I correlate, so I compare correlating assets like GBP and euro, and that way you can kind of decide which one can have is more likely to sell off. So I'm gonna add here. So euro and GBP have similar setups based on my entry model strategy. I'm going to wait to enter whichever is lagging. So that's just how I approach it. All right, so we have Dow still chilling, NQ still chilling. Cool. That covers those. We saw yen mitigate these levels and drop. So if you guys were trading Asian session, it looks like the Asian sessions really played out nicely. I can imagine, I feel like, I know some of you trade yen frequently. I feel like Michael could have taken this one. Maybe Charles. Some of you yen traders are in there, I bet. What's up? Pours out a bit of my cold brew. Wow. That's love right there. It missed me by so little, it hurts. Dude, I had that one marked up and didn't get the alert. ¿Qué tal, Lester? 5 años aquí. Beast. What up, Neri? Jonathan. What's up, man? Hope the move went well. ¿Qué tal, Irene? Un gusto verte por aquí. What do you think about shakeout in BTC in 1 minute? I caught the sell on yen from the high. There you go. See, I figured you did. Yeah, I knew it. I dropped oil buys. Are you in there right now? Is it too late? What's the signal, bro? Buy? Buy now? Let's see. Let me get to the exotics. All right. or not the exotic energy. Energy. Oil buys. Are you looking for buys over here? Let's see. Let me look at the chat here. Oil buys. All right, what you got here, Corey? These. Yeah, so I see a sell-off from like right there. I could see you get the reversal because you got the high over here. It traded up here for some time, so I could see it. There's definitely more imbalance here. These types of trades can be a bit more vulnerable when you have an imbalance, like a pretty major imbalance right underneath. So with one like this, yeah, you might get a bounce and then it wants to just target these even lower. I can see it. I don't love it. I couldn't explain to you totally why. I think the number one thing is just the imbalance underneath. But this definitely dropped, came back up for very little, so we can tell the intention behind a move like this wasn't to make lower lows. It was just to lure in sellers, clear out buy limits, buy orders, and then runs. We then trade above here for 17 hours. So honestly, pretty decent. Yeah, I think it's a good buy setup. This right here is why I don't love it. So I would have probably a conservative take profit with something like this. Yeah, I'd probably like target. Yeah, that would be my approach. But again, you don't have to trade like I trade. And your target isn't too aggressive either. So yeah, I like it. Nice. Corey, man, level 6. What a G. Bitcoin and oil setups. Looks like I think you have a similar. Yo, also, so I hope you guys are using alerts and everything. Rafa, I don't know if you're on, but yeah, both make sense in that first BTC buy. Nice. I was gonna say, I was about to bring it up, and typical, like I told you guys this was gonna happen. But I did. What's the chart look like? Go back. Go to the streams. All the evidence is there. All the data is there. I said, what'd I say? Under 116, and then inside of here. Just like that. And this timed out perfectly with NQ. And this is where you can use these different. Remember, Bitcoin and indices, they are moving together. Not perfectly, but there is definitely correlation there. So I want to show you. Look at this. Just look at this. Okay. Timing. You have 2 p.m. Trade right into July 25th, New York Open. All right. 2 p.m. What are the chances? Trades right into. Oh, wait. Is that July 25th? Crazy. So when you're seeing this just bleeding out, and you're like, oh, what do I do? Like, should I buy it? Should I stay out? And then when you see everything aligned together, like, guys, do you think, and this is just, here's a mental exercise. This is a logic exercise. Do you think that all of these things individually happened perfectly? Do you think that none of this is orchestrated at all? Where in the exact same type of levels, same type of price action, same areas, and everything just is independent, and it's just random people Oh, everyone independently decided, yeah, here's a good time to buy. That because your grandma bought some Bitcoin at this price, and your uncle from down the street, this is why it reversed. That there's no chance that the biggest players with infinite pockets have orders in place that sell off intentionally. Like, remember, in order for buys to even happen, there needs to be money on the other side of the trade too. But all of this is random. It's just gambling, Mike. It's just gambling, bro. One big coincidence. All right. So, yeah, good stuff. I like that idea a lot. With Bitcoin, it didn't get the same kind of like aggressive push as NASDAQ did. It's a bit more similar to Dow, somewhere in between, really. And even then, I do think that we still have quite a bit more room to drop into here. It might not happen now. Maybe it happens later. It kind of just depends on what we see moving forward. But someone brought up a question. I forgot why I looked at it in the first place. Currently break even on Bitcoin. Shakeout on the 1 minute. Okay, that's what it was. Shakeout on the 1 minute. Why did you guys retract your messages? All right. Didn't you just say hi or something? And it was like, wasn't it? I don't think it was offensive or anything. Or Irene. I don't know if it's Spanish or just English. Okay. Bitcoin, yeah, so it dumps here. New York Open rallies right away. So we're seeing a very similar price action on Bitcoin. And let's figure out if it's going to be more like NASDAQ or if we're seeing a better play on Dow. Dow looks better for sure. So Bitcoin, as of right now, if I were to choose between Bitcoin, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, I am leaning more towards Bitcoin, or towards Dow. Yeah, so Dow Jones is looking like a much better setup. It's trading above this, and it's staying above this. It's been trading over here now about over 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So we're seeing a much stronger structure, at least for now, and it was much more aggressive to the upside as well. So, obviously we'll see what happens, because at the end of the day, what matters is once price is down here, like what do these look like? So we'll stay locked in there. I will drop the idea. So something like this, and then the buy, I would be looking for a buy like in this order block here for this play. It would be like right there, because this is inside the sell-off. So you have the actual huge sell right there. This is the entire buy zone. And then to narrow down the entry, we would be looking for something over here. Now that's if we're going to be trading Dow. Now if it's going to be NASDAQ, which of course suddenly now it's more bullish, NASDAQ made its drop a little bit later. So NASDAQ starts to sell off right around here. We start to see it drop here some more, come back up, drop again. So I like the NASDAQ buy in here, and then there's this imbalance over here. So if NASDAQ gives the entry later, then this is what I would be looking for, a play out of this zone. Let me zoom out a little bit, see if I can get any other detail somewhere. a little bit of support right here. All right, so let's see. Maybe the entry a little bit higher. Right there. So something like this, just clearing it, getting into this imbalance, and then trading out of here, I think could look pretty good. And then we have a lot that we can go target. So, and this is just conservative target. Yeah, so let's see if we get it. This is just small intraday structure. Looks like Dow is starting to drop faster. So at the end of the day, we'll see. Originally, I thought maybe Dow was going to be the one that gives us the idea. But right now, it doesn't look like it. Right now, we just cleared the news event highs. So anyone that was selling from the news event just got taken out with this nice little push higher. And then now we're starting to see it drop. So this could end up just being a sweep of the high, and then this goes lower. So let's see. I'm going to add this to our ideas here. What's up, Cheryl? I don't know if you're on, but welcome. Best way to trade. The best way of trading, the best strategy. Just don't trade. Someone blew their account, didn't they? That's rough. Okay. I'm sorry for your loss. All right. So I'll move this to the top, actually. So YM versus NQ. So, Dow or US 30. What alert is that? Okay, yeah, so looks like Dow is crashing here first. So I wouldn't really look to trade that. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for Nasdaq then. I think Nasdaq is giving a much better structure. It's staying more bullish, trading up here, whereas Dow is just kind of crashing quickly. I'm preferring structure on Nasdaq better, at least at the moment. So, and you guys can use your fib tool if you want, just to kind of compare. Go, okay, well, where are we right now? Nasdaq is not even at a 38.2 pullback, while Dow Jones is starting to kind of crash here and is trading towards a 50% pullback. So, yeah, keep that in mind, folks. So right now, still looks more favorable for Nasdaq than Dow. We'll see though. If Nasdaq just starts melting through and Dow holds up, then it might be Dow. Look at that right now. Nasdaq is actually dropping, I'd say, more aggressively at a 618 pullback, and then Dow here kind of chilling, kind of low key chilling. So yeah, I mean, it came into the zone. I think this should drop one more time, though. I know it's starting to bounce right here, but with the imbalance it has right there, I think it's going to give us one more dip under. So either way right now, if it just rips from here, then, I mean, we have our answer, and it's mitigated. You see Dow came into the zone right there and started to bounce. So if this just flies up, I mean, I guess I missed it. But right now, I'd say it's worth. I'm gonna be waiting. So that's just me. Either way, it was a little bit higher than the entry I would have wanted. So if it's going to hold here, and it looks like it is, so it looks like, check this out. This drop was like 40 points. Right now, it's already rejecting like 20 25. Okay, decent. So technically, if it were to drop again, I would still take it. The question is going to be which of the two, which it looks like Dow might be the case. If it does drop, looks like Dow is above the 38.2 now. So if it were to pull back, it might pull back a little bit less aggressive. So let's see. Let me go ahead and update this. Trading the lagger. All right. Let's see it. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? All right, look at that. They're both pushing down now. Both under 38.2. Dow a little bit more aggressive again. NQ kind of just chilling. So NASDAQ. Is it going to be NASDAQ? Will we get a shot at this? These are the questions. NQ not budging, only pushing higher. Let's zoom out a little bit. So let's go 5 minute just so we can kind of have a better understanding. So we definitely saw low demand over here when the market came up, held up pretty well. Dow over here, similar scenario. Came crashing down, came right back up. Even the 15 minute, you get to see giant wick. Price comes up to this level. So as of right now, we're kind of just, they're kind of going back and forth. It's a little bullish to bearish dance that these two are doing here. So Dow hasn't fully mitigated or anything. NASDAQ hasn't either. Here's what I won't do right now. I won't chase this. I won't get in way up here. Not worth the risk reward at all. Same thing with NASDAQ. I wouldn't take a trade over here. So either it comes back down, gives us an opportunity, or this just takes off and it is what it is. Based on the way that it's moving right now, if this were to just continue, then maybe there's another opportunity anyways. So right now, looking at how this is moving, we're basically getting just about the mitigation. Like when I see this, the sell-off happens right there, about 40 points or so. NQ is basically doing that. Got pretty close. I would still take the buy if it were to drop into this imbalance. If it keeps going just a bit higher, then I wouldn't anymore. But we'll see. We shall see, my friends. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin, pretty similar. Coming into these lows. Bitcoin looks like it needs to drop a little bit more, though. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's like, here's where it sells from. Like where it really sells from. It's like right there. This is New York Open for Bitcoin. These are holding down these support levels now pretty decent. Another option, honestly, is BTC. BTC now pulling back as well. Got to its zone. 618 pullback. And then you have Dow and Q chilling here. Now that Bitcoin hit this area, it could start to reverse. So I wonder if that's going to be enough to, like, now that this got to its zone, they're all basically qualified to reverse, to mitigate. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see the market start to push from here. Yeah, just like that, you're seeing Bitcoin start to reverse here. So indices squeezing, Bitcoin popping off. Look at that. Just like that. Nice. Yeah, pretty good play. So you see how it's squeezing like this? Usually that means we'll get a break. We'll get like a big move. So it might be a swing down then up. Maybe we get lucky. This is usually where your patience is tested on your entry model. You go, oh, but I'm going to miss it. Unless you have a different type of plan, then, you know, you have rules for a different type of approach. I would say it's either you wait for your setup perfectly, or you have just another environment, like another entry model in this scenario. But you don't want to rationalize an entry. You don't want to let FOMO be what triggers your decision making. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Like, the market could it go up from here? Sure. And then let's say you were to take an entry here. Well, where would you put your stop loss? And then why would you put your stop loss there? So, like, if you got in here, would you put your stop loss there? Would you just use your stop loss up here? Well, how much is the risk to reward? Is that worth it even? So just a couple things to consider. Okay, so we're starting to see both of these work its way down. NASDAQ below 50%. Dow a little bit slower to drop here. Seems like we'll have opportunities here in a little bit. There it goes. And Q starting to drop into here. I'm going to take a swing at Dow. So I'm going to take my swing at Dow here. So Dow buys for me, and Q now got into the imbalance. Perfect. That's what we wanted to see. So whether it's NASDAQ, whether it's Dow, I think we have a good chance. So I just longed right here, Dow. But actually, yeah, I mean, this is looking good. So whether it's NQ or whether it's Dow Jones. Now we'll see. See if we get the mitigation. NASDAQ came into the imbalance, as was mentioned. Here. Okay, nice. All right, let's see it. Look at how we're seeing NQ is actually like bouncing this very nicely. It's like eating this up. Dow kind of chilling here. So this exactly was what we wanted. Trade inside of this imbalance right there. Yeah, looking actually like a much better play for us NQ. Good reversal here. So far. There we go. All right, Dow joining the party. And then look at Bitcoin. Look at where Bitcoin needed to go. Bitcoin needed to get down into these lows as well. And now it's seeing some reversals. So this is how you can kind of see how it's a whole like chessboard. It's not just like, oh, we're just trading one thing. Like every little piece goes together. And I'm not even looking at S&P. Right? And S&P here played, funny enough, S&P probably was, and even when I almost never look at S&P, but S&P didn't even trade down to this. So I wonder if we get another pushback on something to get into this low. Maybe not, but I would be curious. I'm going to have another here. But Dow pushing nicely and Q still holding up. So remember, to go back, right, why did I make this decision? Dow was dropping less aggressively, barely hitting the 618, while NASDAQ got well below that. So it was just more bearish in real time. That's why I ended up making this decision here, and I took Dow for the long right there. And so I ended up taking one half here and then another half right here. So I'm averaged in like right around here, actually. And then, okay, so now the question is, okay, where do we take this to? When do we go break even? So first, it's about protecting capital. So when can I move my stop? Well, this is a 140-point drop. So based off of my rule, my mitigation trade management rule, I need to see this thing go 140 points. 140 points. Right now, we're playing out of, for example, the order block was about 57. So we originally saw that basically already happen. Actually, it got close, not quite. This just now, if we keep going higher, that could be kind of mitigating the order block, but this huge sell-off is still what I want to play out of. Like this still needs to go higher. And Q holding up nice right here. Dog bleeding right back. So what does that do? Remember what we were talking about with S&P? Not quite yet. I wonder. So in current price action, NQ a little bit just more sideways, while Dow is more volatile in this range. So just so you can read real-time price action. I do think we're going to go a little bit lower. Remember what I was showing you guys with S&P right here? S seems like it would want to go down to here. So honestly, and S&P is like usually the middle child. So it like splits between NASDAQ and Dow for the most part. Like the price action, the way it moves. So right now we're seeing NASDAQ go down more. Dow holding up. Looks like, see how we're building up equal lows here? It looks like we'll probably go below one more time. So you can make a real-time decision. Either you close out your trade, you wait for a better entry, assuming that other things need to happen here with the market, if that's like your belief. Or you just you're already committed to your decision. You have an overall bias, and that's all it's going to be. Look at that. So we made the right call, or at least it looks like as if right now, in choosing Dow over NQ because of what we were considering with price action and structure. Let's see. I have a feeling that NASDAQ is going to dip down a bit more at some point, but just because S&P didn't quite get to this. I figured it would. Let's see. Or played it right out of there. And then this played it right out of here. So it played out of this zone. But this is ripping now. Nice. Okay, so with the trade management wise, basically once the market starts to really crack above this, this is when I'll start to move my stop. As of right now, I don't know if the market's going to squeeze. I don't have complete proof yet. Market could want to move sideways here, and then that could lead to other things. So what I'm going to do is just let this thing, just let it trade. I still think that S&P is going to work its way down to here. I think we'll make one more push down so that this can rebalance since it hasn't in here. I feel like that's going to bring down a little bit more, and then it can go. Now, when you make a decision like that, you're banking on that happening. So, for example, like and this is just to get a better, just to basically to get a better entry. So I actually just took profit on Dow, and now my trade is going to be below this low. Okay, so now it's going to be below this low. And that's under the impression that S&P is going to push down. I could be wrong, and now I just got in the way of, and then I miss out on, like, you know, a huge move, and it is what it is. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Just because I think that we end up seeing another push down on S&P to get into this. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong and I miss out. It's not that big of a difference, but it also really is a big of a difference, because instead of having a stop of whatever I had before, now I can actually have a fully, like, outside of the range entry for like 60 points or so. So we'll see. I might have fumbled it and this thing just rips, and then it's just not going to get back to this level. And if that's the case, then that's the case. I know who's going to just let this thing ride, not really deal with the possibility, and because this is technically, like, you're kind of doing a lot. You're assuming things are going to work out, and the things that haven't happened yet will happen, which, again, when you're in the market and you have a good entry, or at least you have an entry, you're already in. That's, like, in your control. If something hasn't happened yet, it's out of your control. It's not guessing, it's just probabilities. And then the question is, are the probabilities going to be on my side or not? In this case, I'm willing to see if they'll be on my side for better entry, better risk reward. And that's not because I just want a better risk reward. It's because I feel like there's a good probability that we still come down to rebalance this over here. But all we can do now is wait. Either way, the buy still stands. I still think I'm still bullish on this. So we shall see. Okay. So outside of that, I want to bring up something over here. Do a quick recap on the majors. Everything, nothing new. Everything I wanted to share, I've already shared. So that's the case on that. Follow-ups on metals from the beginning of the day, going between gold and silver. Both have been dropping here. So potential gold buys still stand. I have an alert once we start to get close to that. And then in regards to oil, not quite there. Mexican peso, I don't have any trades. I don't have any entries. So yeah, I stayed out of this. We didn't end up getting enough confirmation for any longs, so didn't do anything there. And really, that's about it. I'm going to set alerts here on indices if we do get this drop that I'm looking for. Look at that. S is starting to work its way down. So take a look at that. See? I want it to break into this imbalance. Once it does that, I might end up not even having that different of an entry, which is funny. It might end up just being literally basically the same trade. And looking at NASDAQ, looks like NQ is going to want to drop. So look at, now we're seeing Dow just kind of poked into here. S&P poked into here as well. What we don't know is, well, how much into this imbalance is it going to play into, if anything at all. NQ didn't break the low or anything. It just kind of traded down here. I feel like at this point, if it's going to go, it should probably take out that low. That would be a little bit more liquidity to take. And then S&P, I think this doesn't even really break into the imbalance yet, so I do think we still push down a bit longer. Let's see it. Dow is not playing games. Dow's not looking to drop like that. Yeah, Dow's holding up really well. So I'm going to end up probably having because once I want to see S&P drop into here a little more. And depending on if it's already over here, then I will take my trade on Dow. And I might not get the entry that I wanted. Looks like I'm not going to. So these are experiments that I run sometimes just to see how much can I refine an entry. And like I said, S&P is the middle child. So even if it is going to drop, it doesn't necessarily mean Dow is going to be the one that drops with it. S&P going down is really only because NASDAQ was pushing down. That was kind of the big reason why S&P was going down. So yeah, we'll see. Either way, this didn't really play into the imbalance yet. This kind of just played into this low. So I still think we get another push down. And then with Dow right now, we've only seen about a 60, 70 point reversal, not quite mitigation fully. Either way, still long, still bullish on Dow. Let's see where I end up having my entry. All right, so look at this. Breaking down, coming into the zone. Perfect. All right, so now I do think we're going to see the market rip from here. So Dow and Q can start to make its move from the zones that we're at right around now. Maybe it drops lower. If so, cool. But I think these are the pullbacks. Now that S&P is in a place of rebalance, the rest of the market can start to do its thing. NASDAQ cleared those lows. Like I said, that would be it would make sense for it to clear more liquidity. Anyone buying in this range now officially could be stopped out with a move like that. And then everything, like the market is now balanced is how I look at it. S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, and this can go and do its thing. So let's see. All right, guys, we'll leave it at that. With in regards to exits, taking out the high of the day for Dow Jones. That to me is kind of a no-brainer. Clearing these highs. There's just a lot of liquidity over here overall. So this would be kind of the first targets would be to clear out these trades over here. Just clear out these highs. Yes, we have London session highs here as well, so would not be shocked if we get up into this, more into this imbalance as well. Yeah. So for the day overall, I'd probably say we can push into here. Remember, we have NFP tomorrow, but just trade your game. You know, trade the probabilities that make sense to you, and don't trade out of hope by any means. I think just focus on what's in your control and go from there. So, all right, cool. Let me know how it goes today, guys. Keep me posted in the chat. Drop however the outcomes are. If you take it, the wins. If you're, you know, whatever questions you may have, you can go ahead and ask them in here. Any charts you want me to look at, go ahead and do that there as well. And then before I go, let me take a look at the chat in here. I took BTC. Bye, Mike. Thank you. Peace out, man. Like that zone. Roll the dice every morning. Got to bounce. Peace out. English or Spanish? What's up, Diesel? Veracity. Damn. Y'all are still following on VRA like that, huh? Some people, y'all don't want to let go of it. I get it, I guess. Special place in our hearts. I just don't, I haven't really been following up with VRA like that. So I don't really know. Let's see, VRA. Let's see here. Looks like there's a buy zone around 0012, but that's just strictly technical analysis. I couldn't tell you anything else outside of that. Yeah, I don't really know what's happening here. I haven't really been in the loop. Some huge buys and sell orders here, though. Jesus Christ. Honestly, this seems like a token that you can kind of just take 50% gains. Like, just this would be one that I would kind of just trade with not with margin, but like, all right, here's $1,000. You make 50%, catch $500. Looks like it only takes a few days at a time. You may get caught up. Just really buy at pretty significant lows, and then trade that up. And then with the profits, I'd probably just actually throw it into something you long-term believe in. So like, for example, let's say you threw 1,000 in here at 00125, and then it just pumps like it seems to do. You make your 50%. So you made $500. You take the 500 out, throw it into something that, I don't know, buy some Bitcoin or something, buy some dog. And then if it dumps again, just do it again and just keep cycling it. That would be my approach with this token. I just haven't followed it like that. And the fact that it's so damn lows, I mean, not always a good sign. Like, this is below where we got it in 2021. Yeah, I mean, it's a micro cap for sure. Not on the pump fund level, but like, yeah, it's a small coin. Is the stream starting an hour early tomorrow? It'll start like 15 minutes before NFP. So like 15 minutes before NFP, I'll be live. All right, cool. Well, let's see how this goes with Dow. Let's see if it's squeezing. So either very good or very shit. All right. Peace out, y'all.